Hey everyone, welcome back to the Maths and Physics Problems Explained Fantasy Premier League podcast. We're heading into Game Week 3 of Fantasy Premier League, and I've got to say, Game Week 2 was wild. From Arsenal defenders putting up video game numbers to Chelsea suddenly looking like a goal machine, there's plenty to unpack. So let's slow it down, breathe, and go through what really mattered last week, and more importantly, how we can use it to set ourselves up for a big Game Week 3. Section 1. Quick GW2 recap. So what happened? Here are the headlines. Arsenal smashed Leeds 5-0. Chelsea put 5 past West Ham in their derby. Spurs went to the Etihad and won 2-0. Everton christened their new stadium with a 2-0 win over Brighton. And Liverpool nicked a thriller at Newcastle, 3-2. That's a lot of storylines already, and we're only 2 weeks in. From a fantasy perspective, the big winner was Jurrien Timber. 24 points. Yes, you heard that right. 2 goals, an assist, clean sheet, full bonus. It's the kind of haul you almost never see from a defender. If you had him, congratulations. You probably doubled your mini-league rank in one weekend. Also catching the eye, João Pedro at Chelsea with 15 points. Josh Cullen for Burnley, chipping in with 14 as a budget enabler. And Ricardo Calafiori, another Arsenal defender, racking up 13. So yeah, defenders were basically midfielders this week. Section 2. Who overachieved and who underachieved? Let's split it into 2 buckets, the overachievers and the disappointments. Overachievers. Arsenal's fullbacks were on another planet. Timber and Calafiori both got attacking returns on top of the clean sheet. Chelsea's attack. Even with Cole Palmer missing out late with a groin issue, they shared the goals around. 5 different scorers. Everton. Jordan Pickford saved a penalty. Jack Grealish got 2 assists, and the whole side looked alive at their new ground. And then you've got the budget heroes, Tavernier at Bournemouth, Cullen at Burnley, players who probably sat third on your bench, but came up big. Underachievers, the obvious one, Manchester City. Erling Haaland blanking at home to Spurs wasn't in anyone's script. Aston Villa's attack, still sputtering, another loss. Brighton, usually fun, but they got shut out by Everton. And United, just a 1-1 at Fulham, nothing for the attackers. Plus that Cole Palmer injury scare, which definitely left managers scrambling. Section 3. Injury and availability updates. Speaking of Palmer, here's what we know. Chelsea are assessing his groin problem. He's a doubt for Game Week 3, so if you own him, you'll want to monitor news closely. Over at Arsenal, there was a hamstring scare for Bukayo Saka. The latest is that it's not as bad as first feared, but it's still a flag. And Newcastle's Anthony Gordon got himself sent off late against Liverpool. That's almost certainly a 3-match ban. If you own him, it's an easy sell. Section 4. Looking ahead to Game Week 3. Matchups. Alright, let's look forward. Here's what we're working with this weekend. Chelsea versus Fulham, Saturday. Chelsea looked electric last week. João Pedro's the standout pick here. But their fullbacks are interesting too. Even without Palmer, I'd expect returns. Spurs versus Bournemouth, Saturday. Spurs are on fire, beating Burnley, then going away to City and winning. Huge statement. Brennan Johnson's the value attacker. Porro in defense looks great, and Ethan Vicario in goal if you fancy a keeper move. Bournemouth did win last week, but this looks tough for them. Wolves versus Everton, Saturday. This is quietly a fantasy game. Wolves haven't scored yet this season. Everton just kept a clean sheet. Pickford's in form, and Grealish looked lively. If you're streaming for defenders, Everton's your team. Manchester United versus Burnley, Saturday. Honestly, I'd tread carefully with United attackers. Burnley are organised, United aren't clicking, and this feels like a frustrating 1-1 type of match. If you own United mids or forwards, I wouldn't rush to start them. Leeds versus Newcastle, Saturday. Newcastle are weakened without Gordon, and Isak's status is unclear. Leeds just got hammered by Arsenal, but at home, they might be a tougher out. I'd temper expectations if you're starting Newcastle attackers. Brighton versus Man City, Sunday. Yes, City blanked last week, but don't overthink it. They'll want to respond. Brighton just conceded 2 at Everton, and Haaland remains a must-start. Classic bounce-back spot. Nottingham Forest versus West Ham, Sunday. Forest attackers are interesting. West Ham have conceded 7 goals already in 2 matches. If you've got Forest mids or forwards on your bench, this might be the week to roll them out. Liverpool versus Arsenal, Sunday. That's the headline fixture. It's also a bit of a fantasy headache. You don't bench Salah, you don't bench Saka if he's fit, but I'd avoid doubling up on either defense. This is a game for attackers, not clean sheets. Section 5, must start, must sell, and bench options. Let's break it down cleanly. Must start players for game week 3. Brennan Johnson, Pedro Porro, basically the Spurs core. João Pedro for Chelsea, +1 defender. Haaland, no matter what, and Everton's Pickford or Grealish if you've got them. Must sell or trade out. Anthony Gordon, banned, easy decision. Cole Palmer, if you can't afford to bench him through the injury doubt, you can move him on. Aston Villa forwards, form is poor, fixtures aren't helping. Bench if you can. Arsenal defenders, yes, Timber was amazing. But away at Liverpool is a different beast. Manchester United attackers, they need to prove it before we keep starting them. Brighton attackers, hosting an angry Man City is not the time. Section 6, 5 big takeaways. To wrap it up, here are the 5 big lessons from game week 2. Jurrien Timber's 24 points was one of the biggest defender hauls in FPL history. Huge upside if he keeps that role. Chelsea's attack is deeper than just Palmer. João Pedro and others are worth real consideration. Spurs are the real deal. They've beaten City away. Invest with confidence. Everton's new stadium bounce is real. Pickford and Grealish look like sneaky good picks. And finally, keep an eye on injuries. Palmer, Saka, Gordon suspended. Don't ignore the red and yellow flags. Closing. That's it for today's show. If you're setting your team for game week 3, the theme is simple. Lean into the hot hands. Chelsea, Spurs, City. And don't overcommit to tricky fixtures like Liverpool versus Arsenal. Good luck this weekend, and may your benches stay empty for all the right reasons.